What if I've told you that we can save climate change if we involve women? You might be wondering exactly what I mean. Aren't women already involved in any sense? Well, this question might seem obvious. It was actually headline news in 2019. According to a study conducted by McKinsey in 2015, achieving gender equality in labor markets would have added $28 trillion to our economy by 2025, enough to fund the fight against climate change. However, we're still facing both issues, gender and climate crisis. My name is Cyntia Abarca, and today I want to share with you my thesis topic, Changing Climate, Elevating Women and Youth as Agents of Action. Have you ever heard about the links between gender and climate or women and climate? To be honest, although I've been interested in sustainability since I was young, I was not familiar with the entire climate picture until 2 years ago. That changed when I learned that according to the United Nations, 80% of people displaced by climate change are women. A staggering number that resonates deeply with me. So I decided to immerse myself into climate to understand further the links and look for design opportunities to help. Over the course of 2 semesters, I engaged with different climate perspectives by participating in different events and conducting over 25 interviews with a diverse group of experts. What I found was a series of links that guide my design interventions. We all know that climate change knows no gender, no borders, and no cultures. Yet, its impacts are not gender neutral, and it shouldn't be reported that way. Women not only make up the majority of those displaced by climate-related disasters, but they also often face gender roles that make them more vulnerable to climate shocks. This is especially true for women and young girls in poverty conditions and frontlines, which refers to the position or status or being most directly exposed to and affected by climate change. Let's put it this way. Climate change is a threat multiplier, creating multiple consequences and scenarios, perpetuating vulnerable conditions, and increasing tremendously the likelihood for women facing death, sexual violence, homelessness, and lack of resources, among other issues that are still live with us due to cultural norms and the role of women in families and communities. On the other hand, when considering the intersection of women and climate action, we see that women remain underrepresented in the development of climate solutions, climate negotiations, and leadership positions. At the current trajectory, women will only hold 25% of green jobs by 2030. Only 9% of venture capital goes to women funders in the climate tech space. And when it comes to leadership, women still represent less than 35% in COP, the main climate global conference, and that number has not changed in 1 decade. Although women are often underrepresented, they frequently advocate for climate change, adopt sustainable practices, and achieve positive outcomes when in leadership roles or given investment. However, their contributions are not always recognized or valued equally to men's, especially for Black, Indigenous, and people of color. All those links to said that climate change is leading our society to a greater gender gap, a gap that might take 150 years to close. But if we do it right, we have a unique opportunity to advance both the climate agenda and gender equality. However, we need to be intentional. Given this focus, how can we promote a gender perspective in climate action and support women from different fronts? To address these challenges, I intentionally designed the next interventions that aim to bridge the gap while catalyzing climate action. The World Bank estimates that over 5 million women and girls lack adequate menstrual supplies and hygiene facilities, a condition expected to worsen as the climate crisis intensifies. So when we talk about frontline communities, securing access presents significant challenges, from obtaining resources and communication to providing specific products for women and girls, where energy represents access to all of these. With that in mind, and inspired by the resilience of a dandelion, I developed Dandelight. Dandelight is a basic emergency kit tailored specifically for women and young girls, highly exposed to climate disasters and emergencies. After some design explorations, the kit took form with waterproof and ergonomic features in mind, contrasting the existing Dignity kit offered by the United Nations to women in vulnerable conditions, that as seen in the pictures, the size and form do not allow for easy portability. Menstrual essentials and energy combined represent much more than just a kit. Menstrual essentials equate to dignity for women, and energy symbolizes agency, communication, and access. While this speculative product was crafted to provide immediate relief and access, accessing climate and gender issues requires ongoing efforts on multiple fronts. So when it comes to climate action and our pursuit of a greener future, women face another barriers in accessing this green economy. 1 in 10 women lack a single green skill or green job experience, a gap exacerbated by barriers such as lack of role models, guidance, gender pay disparities, and an overwhelming climate jargon that remains inaccessible to many. What if there were a method to support women and facilitate the transition to a climate career path, or advancing in it as seamless and back as possible? Introducing STEPS. STEPS is a mentor matching app, toolkit, and community designed specifically for women who aspire to make a significant impact in the climate space. Here's how it works. Based on interests and goals, the app will connect women with climate professionals who can guide them through career transitions and growth. It will also encourage users to set specific targets and build meaningful relationships through feedback and collaborations. And in order to address the complexity of climate jargon and save users' time, the app will offer curated learning resources as easy to digest climate cards, making learning actionable and straightforward. Whether it's courses, podcasts, or lexicons, STEPS will partner with organizations and leverage AI to share the best resources. Finally, Collective STEPS, a supportive space and community for users to share best practices and mutual support. This is something that the market needs because women are really struggling to get into the climate space, says Shandy, Vice President at Marathon Capital with over 8 years working in climate. While this intervention will help women advance a climate agenda one step at a time, my research also highlights a crucial shortfall in global collaboration across policy, advocacy, and leadership sectors. Repeated interviews highlight that climate change is rooted in a patriarchal system and a deep leadership crisis, prompting an urgent question: how can we affect meaningful change? Stories inspire people to become involved. Data, on the other hand, quantifies the hidden impact, especially for women. And collaboration is key to scaling up and multiplying efforts. Based on those insights, I developed a platform with a global lens, the Climate Intersection Initiative, a gender-focused platform and mapping tool that aims to engage organizations, volunteers, policymakers, and female advocates actively in climate leadership. Built on 4 pillars, the platform allows users to visualize data and track gender developments, amplify female voices by creating a database of women leaders and stories for climate negotiations, and explore gender-specific climate policies. Last but not least, taking action is where organizations can track other initiatives around the world and scale partnerships to multiply their work. As I delved deeper into climate issues, it became clear that allyship is an important term in addressing both gender and climate. To change everything, we need everyone. So I went back to my research and I realized the gender gap, climate inaction, and reflections on masculinity and men are concepts that are fundamentally intertwined in the ways the gender and our system works. Thus, I invite other men and other genders as part of the conversation to raise awareness and invite them to be women's allies. Presenting We Need to Talk, Climate Cocktails, a guided experience and exhibition to discuss gender and climate, challenge stereotypes, and encourage participation.
Yeah, I want to know what your answer is.
Like having a gendered lens on climate is important because when it comes to climate disasters,
Grassroots level, it's females. Most are
Yeah, if I had children, then it's very easy, right, to care about the environment.
women kind of learn how to advance those positions, but men don't know how to.
After the experience, participants recognize the complexity of the topics and express a desire for more discussion spaces. Finally, a conversation with an expert revealed a significant opportunity to bridge the gender gap and spur action by reshaping the narrative around gender norms from a young age and weaving climate discussions into early education. So hopefully, we don't need to deal with these issues anymore. But what are the challenges that these younger generations are already facing? In a survey conducted in partnership with Global Classroom Program with 16 middle schoolers, I learned that 66% of them reported feeling concerned about climate change. 70% knows a little about it, and 50% report lack of time and support as the main reasons to take action. This shows a disconnection between concern and action due to lack of time, knowledge, and support. Seeking to help teens address climate concerns and take action, I envision Green Minds. Green Minds is an educational and gamification app designed for teenagers between the ages of 12 and 16 to foster collective action, climate literacy, and optimism. Challenges are the main feature, enable teenagers in actionable missions and invite their friends to participate with them. They will also set learning goals at their own pace and get daily missions as part of the challenge. As they progress, they will receive encouraging messages. Once the challenge is over, they will access an impact report to visualize their contributions, learn from peers, and earn points and rewards that can be exchanged for sustainable products. Some of them, like Kiki, told me it's time for a change, and I couldn't agree more. At only 12 years old, she acknowledged the challenges ahead, but her conviction fuels my hope. Hope that I envision spreading forward as part of my designs and work. This journey started 2 years ago, and I'm standing here today thanks to many people that have supported me along the way. A huge and special thanks to my parents for being my biggest fans, and to that girl who chose to move to New York and believe in change. Gracias.
There were so many projects. I know that this department insists that students do like 5 or 6 or different things. I can't believe the breadth from, do you remember the backpack? Do you remember that? All the way through multiple digital applications, in-person applications. Did you leave anything out?
Oh God, yes.
Oh,
I wish.
there was more.
Yes.
Okay.
I think this, I'm really passionate about this topic. So I've been exploring different angles in order to address gender and climate at the same time. And there was one particular project I left out. Is work in progress. It's called like an impact lab, which is like a platform that helps women to connect with funding and grants, especially critical for climate space and women.
Can people find that on your website in a week? 10 days?
Hopefully, yes.
2 weeks. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Allen.